Hello everyone and welcome to my midweek post. Ooh, I don't know what I'm doing. I wanted to start posting a little bit more regularly because I really love doing this, and I'm getting faster at editing, which means it won't take me an entire week to edit and more like a couple days or a day or two, depending on the video and how long it is. I don't know what day it is, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Today, this video is going to be a little different than some of my other ones. I'm just trying new things, you know? Today, I'm going to be recommending dark books to you. And I don't mean dark as in like the content is dark. My bangs are gonna drive me crazy, I need to cut them. Content isn't necessarily dark, although it could be. This is just books with the word dark in the title that I think are good. I've noticed that a lot of YA fantasy and adult fantasy have words in common. Queen, shadows, a prince, like, you know, like there's a lot of recurring words in stuff. I think I just named 3 Sarah J Maas books right there. Queen of Shadows is one of them. Queen of Shadows, Prince of Dark. Anyway, Throne is a used one. Midnight. The point is that there are a lot of books that have similar words in the title as each other. So today I'm going to be sharing my favorite dark ones with you, or the ones that have the word dark or something similar enough to dark in the title. And yeah, that is what we're doing today. So let's get into it. The first one that we're going to talk about is the only one that I don't actually have a physical copy of. I've talked about it a few times on this channel, but I really love this book, and it's Dark Rise by C.S. Pacat. I did Google how to say it this time because I know in one of my last videos I was like, not sure how to say it, and I didn't look it up before I started talking. This book was so good, and it has the word dark in the title, and it does have like a dark and light trope in it, and I love it. I love it so much. It's like, it was sunshine, I was midnight rain type of deal. I can sing, I promise. All of the characters in it are so well developed, and there is art online for all the characters, and they're so beautiful, and only the first 2 books are out right now, and I'm so excited for the next one to come out because the journey that the characters have been going through, every single plot, like cliffhanger, every single plot cliff in this book, every single cliffhanger in this series has been crazy, and they always happen like perfectly timed throughout the story, or all the plot twists are properly timed throughout the story, that it keeps you engaged in the story. And not only that, I mean, all of the characters are very cool and very awesome, but it's those wait, what kind of things that keep you like hooked. The next one is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft. I loved this book. I read it recently. I have a list on Goodreads, and it's like my folklore-esque stories, and this one made the list. This is my first Alison Saft book that I've read, but I'm very much so looking forward to reading Wings of Starlight, which is her newest book that just recently came out, and I'm so excited. Dark and Drowning Tide, it's sapphic, it's enemies to lovers, it's kind of dark academia-y. It's a lot rooted in folktale and folklore and fairies, and as you know, I don't know if you can see my copy of Emily Wilde from here, but I loved Emily Wilde because of its, like, that exact thing. It's the academia-ification of fairies and folklore, and that was definitely present in this. And it's sapphic, and it's dark and edgy and super cool and really good. The next book on this list is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. And if you haven't read this book yet, what are you doing? I love this series. I mean, I love every book. I'm not gonna recommend you guys a book that I don't love, but this book actually has my favorite first line in any book ever, and I will read it to you. You're welcome. Kel wore a very peculiar coat. I don't know what it is about that line, but whenever someone asks me what's my favorite like opening draw you in line in any book, I always come back to this one because it just draws you in. And I think V.E. Schwab does a really, really great job of creating stories within like magical worlds, or creating like magic rules that are really interesting and engaging. And I talked briefly about the Fragile Threads of Power in one of my other videos, and it's the spin-off series to this one. And I just really think that she does a great job of keeping the audience engaged while also coming up with new things for the readers to be engaged by, and she does that really well throughout this series. It definitely is one of those ones where it's like, it starts here and then book 2 goes like this, and then book 3 goes like this, and it blows me away every time. I did recently reread this, and it was really nostalgic because I read it probably for the first time when I was in early high school, and you know, it's one of those ones I keep coming back to and have read it a gazillion times. The next one on this list is a Star Wars book. When reading Star Wars books, it's always good to have like a little bit of knowledge about whatever era you're reading in. So the book that I'm recommending to you guys is Star Wars: A Dark Disciple. This is by Christy Golden. She's a really great Star Wars author, so she's written quite a few books for Star Wars and they're all bangers. And I would recommend at least having like a base knowledge of the Clone Wars era, just to know what the political climate was like during the Clone Wars era, or like slightly after the Clone Wars era, right when the Empire starts to take over. This book, first edition, I've been there since the beginning, and it's actually just like a great story aside from it being Star Wars. Obviously there are Star Wars isms in it, there are lightsabers, there are the Empire, but at its core, I don't want to spoil anything. It's kind of a love story at its core, so. It's about Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos. If you want to read a great story about two people on opposite sides of a war, fighting and being dramatic, Dark Disciple is for you. The last one on this list, definitely not the last one that I like found or thought of, but I wanted to kind of keep these a little bit shorter, so I only did 5 on this list, and this is actually a kind of crazy version of this book. So this one is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, and this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive of this book, of this series. It's a duology, and they have this for both of them, and it's so gorgeous. I'm actually gonna brag just a little bit about this book real quick, because like it's gorgeous, and then sprayed edges, obviously. And then the inside, like, this is really cute. And then it has like a little gold embossed window on the front, so it's really cute. I love it. I didn't read this copy. I did listen to the audiobook of it, so I didn't read this copy of it, but I have it because I needed it. But this one was really good, and it does have a darker tone to it. It more matches, it is an adult fantasy, so it does kind of match the A Dark and Drowning Tide. It's not dark academia because it doesn't take place at a school, but if you think of like the churches and palaces that fit in like a dark academia board on Pinterest, that would be like the vibe that this gives off. And it also has a really interesting magic system, and I wasn't sure what to think when I first like was gonna read this book, because I'd heard a little bit about it on Book Talk, but you know, there's a lot of book talky books where it's like the same plot or the same idea recycled over and over and over again, but this one genuinely surprised me. I read it around the same time that I read another book talky book, and I was like, I have to stop trusting Book Talk with my book recommendations, because what the heck is this? But then I read this one and I was like, oh, okay, you guys might be on to something. And I actually had to read the second one like immediately after, because it was so engaging and the magic system was so cool. The characters were like really well rounded, and it was one of those stories where you really cared about every character, so you didn't feel like you needed to not. There's something for everyone, basically. That is my little dark book tag. Let me know if there's any books that I missed in this video that you think deserved a place on the spot. I know that I had I was gonna talk about like the dark artifices, Queen of Air and Darkness, but I figured that I figured a lot of people know about Shadowhunters, and I wanted to bring up a couple that people might not necessarily know about, even if they are in book spaces. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I do have an Amazon storefront now with 2 lists, one about book recommendations and the other about my computer parts that I bought, just in case anyone wants to check those out. All the links to my social media are in my description of all my videos, so drop a like, drop a comment, drop a subscribe if you're interested in my videos, and I will see you next time. Bye!